Hello there, everyone. Jeff Moore here with CaptureTV, and it has been one bit of a crazy month as far as in the photo world, so to speak. A lot of announcements coming from Nikon and Canon as far as profit margins, as well as Sony. Sony made has definitely shared their profit margins as well. And we are also going to kind of chat about the new Canon cameras that have been announced. I myself, a little bit later here, I'm not going to go into the specs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the announcement a little bit and kind of give my insights as far as just the craziness of everybody just jumping on is like, oh, I got the announcements here. I got the announcements, and here are the differences between the cameras. Wait a minute, there's not much difference. Well, that itself is fine, and I'll get a little bit more into that. First of all, of course, we want to say welcome. Welcome to my desk. This is, well, you can't really see much of a shot of my desk, mainly because it's just I have a little bit of a small area in my home to work through. But nonetheless, I work with what I have, and that's what Capture TV is all about. We work with what we have today. Don't have to have the best equipment, do not have to have the latest gear or, anything such as that, but you just learn to work with what you got and to share that with others here. So that's what Capture TV is all about. So this is our very first vlog, and we're going to dive right into it to talk about Nikon's announcement of their extraordinary losses. Now, extraordinary losses, this itself has kind of been in development for quite some time, and it kind of has just been brought to the forefront right now as far as, oh my gosh, what happened? What's going on? Well, a lot of things have been going on. One is Nikon has definitely been struggling within their point and shoot division a little bit, and I say struggling meaning like sales, good reviews of those cameras that they come out with, as well as having good range of great point and shoots to choose from. Because cameras, cameras have definitely been taken a hit by cell phones. Okay, not going to deny it. Cell phones have definitely had an effect on the camera business. Now, I've been in retail for 15 years. I've seen everything go from the height of the film days to the introduction of digital, then what digital has done to the film days, what digital has been growing into, and then what cell phones have done to digital cameras and photography nowadays. So it's no surprise that the point and shoot lineup has definitely kind of taken a bit of a hit from it. So Nikon has been working on their new DL line of point and shoot cameras. They have been in the works for that for some time. They've made announcements on them. They've teased about the release, and then, of course, they would delay the release. They would announce it some more. They would delay it again, and now, because of this announcement to, again, to restructure the company, the DL line is gone. It was dead before it just was released. A lot of folks were looking forward to these cameras, 1-inch size sensor cameras, to compete with the Sony RX100 line and then the Canon GX line, like the G7X, G9X, G3X, and so forth. Nikon has decided, we're not going to dive into that, which is fine. And then on top of that, they've been having some issues with the popularity of their SnapBridge app. I myself think it is a great app to have because, again, being in retail, when a lot of folks heard about Wi-Fi, oh, is this camera Wi-Fi? Well, yes, it is. Oh, then I can send it directly to, no, you cannot. There are limitations of the Wi-Fi. Early Wi-Fi's did not allow for direct connectivity or direct download. Now, the Nikon SnapBridge did, which in itself was pretty cool, to where take a picture, it's saved directly to your phone. Take a picture, save to your tablet. Now, of course, that they have to work out the glitches as far as connectivity, all the drop signals, the compatibility between Android and the iPhones. That is something that they have to work out, and that itself has also been a factor as far as there's a factor of everybody just coming down on Nikon's review of the app. The reviews just have not been great. I think they can make the app better, but that has also had an effect on their, profit losses. So DL line is gone. SnapBridge has definitely had an effect. I don't think SnapBridge is going to go anywhere. It's going to go somewhere. I don't think it's just going to be dropped altogether because the Nikon D3400, the Nikon D500, they have plans for this SnapBridge app. So now going to Sony. Sony has reported strong profits of almost 73% within their camera division. And I'll just kind of make this brief, knowing that Sony has deep pockets. They have their business fingers in all sorts of other divisions of electronics, you know, TVs, DVD players, mobile phones, game stations, game consoles like the PlayStation. So they definitely have some deep pockets, and their camera line, as far as their mirrorless line, has definitely kind of led the pack, as in my opinion, as far as with mirrorless cameras. Alpha 6000, Alpha 6300, and the now Alpha 6500 have been very popular. Call it entry level mirrorless. Been very, very popular entry level mirrorless cameras. And then their full frame cameras have come out, as far as with the Alpha 7, Alpha 7R, S, all the Mark IIs. Those have been wonderful cameras for a lot of folks, to the extent as far as with studio portrait work, portrait use, as well as work within video world. The video world is using these cameras because of their image quality capability as well as their low light capability. And it's really crazy. It's nuts as far as the quality you get from these Alpha 7s. So profits are going strong with them. Now, Canon profits, sad to say, have kind of started to slip, but they're optimistic about next year. Let me just kind of share some of this information. Net sales down about 10.5%. Gross profits down 13.5%. You have operating profits as well as net income that is also down between like 31 to 35%. So they've definitely have taken a bit of a hit, but they're very optimistic as far as with 2017. They are expecting profits to range anywhere from up to 11 to about 17.5% across the board of net sales, gross profits, and all that. And, again, to kind of help with these numbers, a lot of these companies tend to make announcements of brand new cameras that are just coming out before these big conventions. And roughly they make the announcements of these cameras just to see what kind of buzz it's going to get. So that brings us to the Canon Rebel T7i and the 77D. Now, to kind of give a little history for a lot of folks, there has been a T6i and a T6S. 77D is replacing the T6S, where, of course, the T7i is replacing the T6i. Now, I have to admit, again, I'm not going to go into the specs because you can read up on a lot of the specs. The specs are not all that different. But I've always seen that Canon has tried to make a camera between the Rebel and the 80D. I think that's fine, but I am a little bit scratching my head over why make a level below the 80D that is like a beefed up Rebel camera, and you're not having all the benefits and specs of the 80D, period. Now, again, they made the announcement, and we get a lot of folks who start asking, "Hey, do you have the camera?" No, we don't have the camera. Camera was just announced. It's expected to come out in April. So Canon makes the announcement, and they say, okay, let's see how much buzz this can get between now and April. Let's see how many pre-orders we can have as far as what they can expect the sales to be of this particular camera. Now, from the specs that I've read, it seems like a very awesome entry-level camera. Both of them are. And I will still call them entry-level cameras because of weight, size, shape. Neither of them are made with the magnesium alloy body, or the body that's made similar to the 80D. The 77D doesn't even have the same battery as the 80D. Now, the Rebel cameras are the weekend warrior cameras. They are the soccer mom cameras. They are the special event type of cameras. The 80D is definitely a great backup camera for a pro user as far as picking it up every day. Same with the 7D Mark II, but the 7D Mark II is designed for sports. So these two cameras are still entry-level cameras. And a lot of the times with these cameras, you got to look into the major difference that you will see within the menu, not within the outside specs. Again, because these spec sheets are released by bigwigs at a corporate office to say, this is what the consumer, okay? This is what the consumer, this is what our people want to see as far as with the selling points of the camera, which is fine. Resolution, low light performance, frame rate, points of focus, that's all fine. But there are tons of internal workings within the menus between these cameras, and you have to dive into that to really know the difference between the T7i and the 77D and what those two can do for me. So when these get released, say in April, there's going to be a lot of people who actually get their hands on it and they do real world experiments. And that is when you find out this is the major differences between the cameras. And with that said, I myself am definitely going to wait to find out what it is that we're going to be looking at as far as popularity with these cameras. Because, again, Canon wants to have an optimistic view of next year. I think these cameras can definitely do it. But again, Canon, of course, has deeper pockets as far as with industries, calculators, printers. So again, unlike Nikon, who is an optic company, Sony and Canon can take a little bit of a loss and they could be fine. Nikon taking a loss like this, everybody is panicking. So you just have to wait and see. Just like with these cameras, just like with these companies, you have to step back and you have to wait and see how everything's going to pan out. And I think that things are going to pan out just fine. Everybody kind of works out the little kinks. They, they meet the need of the consumer. They give the consumer what they want as far as reliability, quality, function. And again, they're also having to deal with a lot of folks. They're dealing with a lot of folks who are old school photographers as well as the millennium photographers. They're trying to get those millenniums outside the use of their cell phones, but not completely abandon their cell phones. That's why everything is Wi-Fi. That's why everything is connected to each other. That's why, again, I think that Nikon needs to kind of work on this snap bridge snafu, so to speak. All right, with all that said and done, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. This is I'm Jeff Moore with CaptureTV.tv, and I want to also make an announcement to remind everybody that we also have a YouTube channel along with our Vimeo channel where you can see a lot of our behind-the-scenes footage from our photo shoots. You'll find most of those on the Vimeo channel. We're going to get a lot of those transferred over to YouTube. And also want to kind of have a shout out to Rode Microphones. Thank you so much, Rode Microphones, for loaning us our microphones for our projects, as well as kind of give a little bit of a shout out to my good friends Jim and Robert Trawick, Jim Felder, Robert Trawick. Definitely want to check them out at photofaxpodcast.com. I believe it's photofaxpodcast.com, but we also have a link to their site on our Capture TV website. Until then, keep shooting, everybody. We will see you later.